Yes, so I was discussing that it is easy, it's a convenient method, words and phrases are easily explained, it saves time, okay, it saves time of the teachers, even average or say below average teachers can easily handle it, or say it makes use of the child's knowledge of the mother tongue. This is very important. Like in that method, you do not make use of the child's mother tongue, but this method, the translation method, we make use of the child's knowledge of his mother tongue. What are we discussing? We are discussing advantages, okay? We are discussing advantages of translation method, and they are in fact, great advantages, great merits of this methods. Like grammar of the foreign language is taught by comparing it with the grammar of the mother tongue. As I said, S plus V plus O and S plus O plus V, as you have in L2 and L1, you can tell the similarities and dissimilarities, yes, in the sentence structure and in words and all. Like unlike some other methods, like the direct method, which makes no use of the student's knowledge of his mother tongue, the translation method makes use of, I must say, a profuse knowledge of the mother tongue of the students is being used in the translation method. If you're teaching through translation method, then you're making a use of profuse knowledge of, okay, a very big knowledge, a very huge knowledge of the mother tongue of the students, thus making them feel comfortable. The students feel comfortable at the initial stages. If you're talking them in Hindi, their own mother tongue, they feel comfortable. Like suppose, in fact, when you hear somebody speak your language, you feel comfortable. While I just tell you, I would like to share my experience here. While I was doing my +2 from Trivandrum, which language is spoken there? Malayalam is spoken there. Everybody speaks Malayalam, either Malayalam or English, I must say. I would hardly find anybody speaking Hindi. And if, by chance I came across somebody speaking Hindi, I used to feel very elated. Okay, very elated. Why? Because when you listen to somebody speaking your language, you feel very good. So, I must say that the way I felt while I was there in a non-Hindi speaking state, people speaking my language, my mother tongue, I think the young ones, the students at the initial stage feel the same joy, same thrill, same delight when they listen their teacher speaking their mother tongue. So it makes use of the child's knowledge of his mother. It's a big advantage that way. Yeah, the translation method makes use of knowledge of the mother tongue. This is what I was telling you, and the students feel comfortable as a result. Providing a mother tongue equivalent as meaning of a new word in English is easier for the teacher than contextualized or oral presentation. I told you, if I try to tell them meaning, say in the contextualized meaning, or I try to define them, then that is going to be difficult. Okay, but if I'm giving them the exact mother tongue equivalent, then it is easier for them to comprehend, to understand. For example, like adjectives such as beautiful. Now, if I'm asked to tell the synonyms, I can tell because by the grace of Almighty, I know synonyms, beautiful. I can tell them. But every teacher might not be able to give the meaning of beautiful, or say lovely, or say honest, or say charming. Now, these are the words, honest. If I'm asked, okay, honest. Now, if it is difficult to define the word honest that way. Honest is the person who doesn't steal. Honest is the person who doesn't tell a lie. Honest is the person who is virtuous. So this is how I'm telling. So I'm defining it. But if I say honest means imandar, okay, just one word I'm telling, and a student understand it. Okay, he has a satisfaction that he has understood the meaning. And same I can say about the abstract words, for example, like advice. What should I say advice? Well, advice is now I'll be just fumbling for a word, the right words. And if I simply say, well, advice means salah, advice means mashwara. Okay. And so if I know, then I would say, well, advice means suggestion. Suggestion. Okay. Or say success. Now success, this will be very difficult to define the word success. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to give English equivalent also of success. So what do I say? I say safalta. Success means safalta. I would say success means kamyabi. So this is very easy. Do you not find that it's so easy if you are using mother tongue? Or say delight, for example. Delight. Now, I know, so I would say, well, suppose if I'm like telling it to you, if I happen to tell you and you don't know the meaning of delight, then I would say, well, it means joy, it means thrill. I can tell this. But for an average teacher, it's not easy to tell the exact synonym of delight. So what would you say? Delight means Anand, delight means Prasanta, delight means Khushi. This is easy. Or say Cowardice. Cowardice again, Cowardice. How would you tell the meaning, the English equivalent? You would be like, like looking for the word, trying to remember it, but the word won't come, the exact synonym won't occur to your mind. As a result, what would you do? You will tell him, if you're teaching through translation method, well, cowardice means dar. Okay, darpok. Coward is darpok. To darpok hona is cowardice. So these are just a few words, which put the teacher in difficulty to convey the exact meanings. Teacher finds himself in difficulty, in a problem, in a fix, as what to tell them, because his duty is to tell them the exact meaning. So it's not that easy. And if you're teaching through translation method, then your time is saved and you can give the mother tongue equivalent. So this method makes use of mother tongue equivalent. Keep revising also. What are the things we discussed in the advantages? That it is an easy method, words and phrases of the foreign language, that the foreign physiology is easily explained, it saves time, it suits average and below average teachers, and it makes use of the mother tongue of these students. So, like when you read something, try to remember also. Try to revise it there in your mind so that you do not forget. And another advantage, which is a big advantage, which is a big merit, is that comprehension is easily tested. Through translation method, you can test the comprehension of your students. The students' comprehension of English, especially at the early stages, can be easily tested by asking them to tell in the mother tongue what they have learned so far. Okay, what they have learned. Suppose you have told a story in English and you're told the translation also, then you can ask him or her, well, what have you understood? You can ask to a group, what have you understood? Have you understood the story? Okay, come on. If you understood, tell in your mother tongue. As simple as that. So if they have understood, they would tell you in the mother tongue. So words and sentences can be written, or you can write them on the board also. They can be written. Okay. And they can be asked the Hindi version of those words, the way I was telling you. Like you can write, if you're teaching at the early stage, you can write small words there. You can write mat, cat, bat, rat and all. The rhyming words. Okay, what do they mean? Since they occurred, these words occurred, so you were teaching a lesson, you were teaching say Panchatattva tale, Aesop's fables, and they occurred there in your book, then you can ask them, well, what do these words mean? They can give you Hindi equivalents of them. So you can check their comprehension. You can check whether your students have understood or not. So through translation method, you can very well check it. Words and sentences, as I said, can be written in the foreign language on the board, and students can be asked to give their Hindi version. And the most important thing I would say, the biggest merit that I find of translation method, is that it improves your translation skills. It improves your translation skills. Like at the advanced levels, students can be asked to translate the entire chapters in their mother tongue. Since they already know Hindi, they already know English, they already know their mother tongue, okay, and they have improved because they have learned many things which have helped them to know their own language while learning the second language, while learning English, the foreign language. Thus, the translation method not only helps in testing comprehension of your students, but it also gives a good practice in translation. The students acquire a good command in both the languages. Okay, they could get they attain a good command. They acquire a good command in both the languages, L1 and L2, because all the time, you know, they are listening to their teacher translating from English into Hindi, or okay, all the time he does it, or from Hindi into English. Then what happens? Their translation skills are improved. If suppose if I know if you happen to ask somebody from a public school, a child who is taught thoroughly in English, or where the medium of instruction is English, then he won't be able to translate. You know, students who are taught through translation method, who learn English through a translation method, for them it is very easy to translate from the English language into Hindi language, or vice versa, from Hindi to English. And in first year compulsory English, I mean in your own university, now translation is introduced. Translation introduced because students find it very easy, and for teachers also it's easier for teachers also to teach them, because they don't need to, like, you know, read a lesson or explain the lesson into Hindi or into English. There you have they get 10 words. The words are there in Hindi, and they are asked to give the English equivalent of those words. And sometimes they have words in English and they are asked to give the Hindi equivalents. And they also have sentences. They get 10 sentences, and out of those 10 sentences, they are asked to translate five sentences in English. Okay, the sentences are Hindi, and they are asked to translate them into English. Okay, but this can be both ways. So your translation skills are improved if you are taught through the translation method. So these were a few merits. These were a few advantages of translation method, and which are really good ones. But there are some disadvantages also. There are some